All right. Thanks, everyone. Hopefully, you had a good lunch. Great speaker there, too, that we had. So, what we're going to go through is ArcGIS dashboards, the power, how to use them, and the benefits of using them within your organization. Thanks for the introduction there, Tyler. Andy, do you want to quick say hello? Andy's down in our Itasca, Chicago office. He couldn't make the conference. So, Andy, I'll let you give you a quick intro.
Yeah. Hey, how's it going, everyone? My name's Andy Klein. I'm out of our Itasca office. I was planning on coming to the conference, but unfortunately, I got sick on recent travels. But here today, virtually, to uh, help just talk about ArcGIS dashboards and hopefully kind of maybe you learn some stuff today and kind of, um, you know, give you a couple ideas to maybe how you can use dashboards going forward. So,
And Andy's going to start the PowerPoint here, so I'll let him leave it on that end, and we'll go through some quick information here about dashboards. You want me to take this part in?
yeah.
Okay. So, real quick, show of hands. Who is using ArcGIS dashboards currently? Okay. One of you want to give maybe a quick example of what you're doing with it? Or why?
We use a dashboard at the town of Grand Chute for our water meter inventory. So when we switch out meters, everyone in the town can see where we're switching those out.
Anybody else? Anybody else? One more. Todd?
Service commission data, not too different from what you, go ahead, keep it, I talk about it. We use it for, kind of what he's talking about, more on an operational side for what gets reported annually for PSC for water utility.
Okay, thanks. Those are some good examples. So if you haven't used ArcGIS dashboards, or if you have, you'll attest to some of this. So they're easy to deploy, quick to use. They're just another tool, if you will, in the toolbox of using ArcGIS online and some of the tools that are in there in the designer side of things. So basically, like what Todd and what Tyler were talking about, being able to view assets. Maybe change that, Andy, back to the PowerPoint, please.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
View statistics, charts, tables. This is all customizable, what you're going to see in a little bit. We're going to have a quick couple examples that we've got. It is read-only by default. There is some ways to make some possible editing on the fly, but you really don't want this to be an editable environment. It's more designed to be a viewer for making quick decisions, maybe running some reports based off of some analysis and some numbers, whether it's linear length or it's dollars per what the job might cost. And then depending on what layers you turn on and off, those values as far as measurements and money that need to be spent or profit will then change, of course. Next slide, Andy. So, again, dashboards commonly used with other applications within the Esri software solutions suite. Primarily, one of the things that we use it for is when customers are taking data with ArcGIS field maps, whether it's just field maps itself on your phone, your tablet, or when using high accuracy, and Andy will show one of those examples a little bit later on. The office staff then can, analyze, create charts, go into making some quick decisions that may or may not have come from their own users, or if you're trying to maybe do some crowdsourcing within the city. And one of the most common ones I always bring up is graffiti disturbances or potholes, right? Let the city and the public works department know about that, because they may not always be boots on the ground when we're out there in the field. Walking around or driving around in your own city. You can then filter the data by project collection. Andy's got some examples too that we actually have a customer that does sidewalk management, and they basically have a geofence set up that literally populates in everything and anything having to do exactly where they're at. So then the project is based geographically versus all their projects across the United States. And then the dashboards can focus directly on those small individual projects. All right, next slide. And I'll let you take this over.
Yeah, and I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about some of the different life cycles you'll see like throughout a project and how you can kind of utilize dashboards to kind of morph as the project evolves. So, there's a lot of use cases for dashboards. It could be as simple as making a quick visualization graphic, infographic, as well as a map. You got to visualize design data, and you can also incorporate, all those different facets along a project lifecycle. So, I mean, you could start off with design, and then as the project goes into construction, you could be able to view, current construction in real time along the way. So that's a common use case we see is, kind of due to the real-time nature of a dashboard, you have the ability to, view assets that are taken in real time, construction that's taken in real time. Example over to the right is kind of a construction management dashboard that is used out in the field to kind of monitor what's being placed during that day and kind of be able to visualize that on a map, as well as the quantities and the costing associated with each of the assets that are being installed on a specific day. And one of the nice things too is that, if you go into a construction phase and you're using it as kind of a real life, real time dashboard of construction, after construction's done, that kind of by itself evolves into a asset management dashboard. So you don't have to be handcuffed as far as creating a new dashboard for each project phase. You can kind of adjust your dashboard as it goes to kind of, I guess, best represent what you're currently at in a specific project lifecycle. So in addition to that, you can also use, dashboards as kind of a snapshot in time. So compared to just creating a new dashboard, you can also kind of archive that and kind of view, say, this project is going to take multiple years. You can kind of use, different dashboards to kind of view what was installed in that specific year and kind of archive them. Or you can, choose to have a fluid dashboard that kind of encompasses an entire workflow. In addition to that, you can use it for real-time reporting. I know some people in the crowd mentioned they use it for that, as far as like managing work orders via Survey 123, or just as simple as community inquiries or open source data requests for that. That's a common thing we see as well. So there's a lot of different routes you can take. Doesn't necessarily have to be real time. It could be more of a public community facing application that helps users obtain insights from your geographic data. So there's a couple of the things we see, and as far as like I mentioned, the real-time aspect is really nice about the dashboards because they can evolve with how your project evolves. I'm going to go ahead and show a quick example that kind of encompasses that aspect, but also a couple of the things you can do within dashboards to kind of create a full solution. So this is an example of how we use dashboards with field software, ArcGIS field maps, as well as high accuracy GNSS to kind of create a full working solution. In this case, it's for pavement analysis. So we worked with a client, and a couple clients have used this to kind of manage pavement repairs. So in the dashboard is kind of the core deliverable here. So we used dashboards, field maps, and high accuracy GNSS to produce a full solution in a dashboard that updates and summarizes project estimate information in real time through the use of field maps and GNSS. So in the past, one of the big, I guess, inefficiencies sometimes was the use of manual measurement methods out in the field, and that could be, wheel and tape methods or, manual methods, manual calculations. With the use of field maps and GNSS, we can use that to actually, digitally record measurement information out in the field, and then route that back to a dashboard and display it in real time. So that was kind of the core basis of this, and that was kind of the initial request when we started to create this for client. And overall, the dashboard, like I mentioned, kind of serves as the deliverable. It can be used by the repair company to display progress to the end user as far as how the project's going, as well as create an estimate. So they can go out to a specific site, survey or map everything that needs to be fixed, and they can deliver that to the customer via a dashboard. You can kind of see over to the right-hand side, there's an indicator that kind of summarizes all of the different repairs that were recorded out in the field. And then it also can be used to kind of track the progress of the project once those repairs are initiated and the contract is complete. It kind of gives a full scale view of creating the estimate down to managing the project itself. And this would kind of be an example of how that evolves. So initially the dashboard would just be a kind of a estimate view and kind of a view to look through with the end user and determine what they wanted to fix. Then as the project goes along, it kind of transitions into a management platform where the client can view what's being fixed currently. They can see any issues with any of the cracks or any of the repairs that they're paying for. And then they can also kind of track their budgeting as well. So that's one of the examples I thought we'd bring up today. And I'll go ahead and show it off as far as bring it up in a browser. Can everyone see the dashboard right now? Okay, cool. So as Jay mentioned, there's things you can incorporate in a dashboard that are not out of the box. And I'll go over that in a little bit, but I kind of just wanted to go over the general interface. So it's at its core, it's a pretty straightforward dashboard. You'll notice at the top that this indicator is constantly counting down, and that gives management staff the ability to view new information that is being posted from the field to this dashboard. So it's a real-time workflow. And then also they can view any information that's being collected with a list. They can select each of the items, zoom in, view the subtotal of the repair, the estimated subtotal, what kind of repair it is, how big the repair is, and then also screenshots. So this kind of gives them a general view of how they can manage their project and what best to kind of start off with. And I mentioned too, as far as initially managing the project, you do have the ability to embed in this case, it's a editing app. You can also do an experience builder, but this would be more for meeting with like an end user and delivering an estimate. Other than being able to kind of display the estimated total from the project, the client can meet with the end user and determine what they want to repair. So for example, if I get the estimate and I don't necessarily want some of these items to be repaired this year, I have the ability to go in here, select the item, then say, no, I don't want to repair linear repair 11. And you'll notice here that the total is at 47,000, and that'll go down in real time so they can actually adjust the estimate in real time. And that is kind of a benefit of being able to use, I guess, embedding a different application in here, because you have the ability to edit that and it can, be viewed almost instantly on a graphic within the dashboard. So that was kind of some of the concepts we used, kind of melding different maps together to be able to service and deliver a full solution. I'll kind of show you, I'll go ahead and share my iPad screen and kind of show you how that works out in the field. So I did mention that it incorporates ArcGIS field maps. I'll kind of show you that real-time view. And this is that was a demo project, but if it was a live project, you'd have inspectors out in the field on any given day, recording items that need to be repaired and kind of inspecting the premises. So this is just a map that's tied to that dashboard. In this case, we usually recommend, in order to get extremely accurate measurements, using a centimeter level accuracy. For today, I'm just going to show you with my integrated accuracy. But the user out in the field would, basically map out an item that needs to be repaired. And they could use their high accuracy GNSS to record, say, a new line repair. So they're in the parking lot, they can record that with their GNSS receiver. And then how we actually built this is we incorporated a domain that includes the pricing. So you can see the length of this line is 100 feet. All we're doing here is applying, you can see this patch type, applying the cost of, say a 6-inch patch type to the length of the actual geometry that's been recorded. So when I select the 6-inch, it automatically calculates the subtotal there. You can see it went up to $6,000. If I say, oh, it's actually a 12-inch patch type, I can select that, and it adjusts the pricing accordingly. And that's what feeds the indicator, the main indicator on the dashboard. So if I were to submit this, I can go back to my dashboard. And I should see the change from 46,000 and it changed up to $51,000. So you can see that, you know, it's a completely real-time workflow, and it kind of allows not only the project managers for the specific company, but also the actual end users, the people that are getting their parking lot fixed, to kind of view everything out in the field and kind of what's going on. In addition to that, another nice functionality of a dashboard is being able to summarize tabular data. So here's basically the estimate right here. Once the repairs are done and they've specified what they want to repair, they can simply export a spreadsheet, and that gives a kind of a tabular representation of the estimate itself, and then they can move on to repair. And as I mentioned, you can also, even at a management level, instead of saying, you know, I don't want to repair this, you could say, maybe it's already been repaired. So this can kind of be documented along the way. You can say this is complete, and that gives an additional view for project managers that that has actually been repaired, and then they can submit that for billing. So it kind of is kind of a full service as far as, you know, maybe the client doesn't want to repair everything, but they can also view what they have repaired. So maybe next year they can go in there and maybe I want to repair this next year, and they can switch that and get an accurate estimate for that via the dashboard. In addition to that, I kind of wanted to cover some new functionality within the dashboard. If anyone, first off, I'll ask, is anyone using like Arcade with dashboards? See if anyone has used Arcade.
That showed their hands.
Awesome. And I have my contact info here too as well, but a really useful tool that I've seen as well is being able to use like data-driven widgets. So in this case, this estimate is actually coming from several different layers. Several different, completely different layers. So with Arcade, you have the ability to kind of wrangle the data and formulate a, you know, basically a data set of multiple different layers. So it's a data expression. It allows you to also refresh the dashboard at any particular interval. You can go all the way down to, you know, 0.1 seconds. So it can be completely real time. If you haven't looked into that, it might be something that's useful for you going forward, because like I mentioned, you can kind of meld data together and produce compelling graphics off of it. So go ahead and stop sharing my screen.
Any questions on what Andy showed so far? If not, I can definitely get you in touch with him afterwards, and we can always make this PowerPoint available too and have a follow-up meeting. I'm going to show a quick example here about another way that we use Survey 123 with dashboards, and then we'll open it up fully up to more questions and make sure that we got at least 5 minutes for Q&A. Okay? Thanks, Andy. Don't go anywhere, though. There'll be questions. Okay. Andy, you seen the screen?
Ken, yep.
Okay. So from a different angle, does anybody here use ArcGIS Survey 123 for anything? Okay. Guess what? It's part of the Esri family. So what do you think you can do with some of that data? And Andy did express some comments about that. How many have taken a training from us in the last 2 years for ArcGIS Field Maps Jumpstart? Anyone? Or about to? So primarily what we do on the backside for reporting measures, and also to help out our sales reps, our management staff, and then also Andy, a trainer, I'm a trainer, and so is Joe down in our St. Louis office. We kind of tag team our 9-state territory when it comes to training ArcGIS field maps with high accuracy. So to keep us honest and to keep, of course, the sales reps like Larry happy, he wants to know if a training for a particular customer has been completed. We give this to all of our staff to let them know Basically like a red light, yellow light, green light. Has the training been quoted? Is it in the process of being scheduled? Maybe what's the hang up? Why can't it happen right away? Well, you know, holidays always come in the way, snowstorms come in the way, whether it's an in-person training or a Zoom training. And then of course, if it's a green dot, that means it's completed. So similar to what Andy was showing with calculations of length and material and all that fun stuff, our dashboard's a little bit different. In the lower left-hand corner, I know it's a little bit hard to see, but that's all the sales staff, and that's the number of trainings that they've quoted. And then in the bottom middle, we have as far as a percentage of what's scheduled versus completed. And then here in the far right, completed trainings, and then amount of training sold. Then we broke it down by software. And as you can see, since we are an Esri business partner, but we are the Trimble GPS guys, most of our training is ArcGIS field maps. And then what was the estimated cost of completed training amount at the end of the year? And then up at the top right, Andy, Jay, Joe, and Nick, as far as who trained the most. And supposedly, I guess I got 25 trainings done last year. So amongst all my other duties, of course, and coming to conferences like this. So this is just real basic, raw data. And again, like I said, management loves to see this. Instead of just looking at spreadsheets all day, right? Or just PDF reports, quick and easy dashboard. Andy, anything to add about this as far as how we got started with this and basically how it's coming across from Survey 123?
Yeah, I'll just say in general, it's a pretty straightforward. It's kind of, so like the previous example that I showed is more of like a, I would say a map centric as far as being able to navigate through the data within a map, several different maps as well as an editing app. But this would kind of take the more of like a data centric, where we're looking at displaying graphics and all different kinds of statistics about our trainings. So there's a lot of different ways you can use dashboards. It doesn't have to be, you know, like a map centric. It can also be more tabular data centric. And this is kind of the route we took with this, being able to, you know, effectively summarize how we do trainings. And, you know, it does incorporate Survey 123. So when we meet with a client, we establish a scope of training, and that's all filled out via Survey 123. And then the points you see on the map would be, you know, the location of the training if we schedule it in person, or just the office of the client office. So there's a lot of different ways you can use dashboards. You can kind of customize it to have, you know, you don't even need to have a map on there. So I've made some dashboards that are just, you know, infographics or, you know, statistics. So you can really use it to benefit you in a lot of different ways.
And I did forget to mention, but you probably already saw it up the left-hand corner. This was last year, so this was 2023. And so what usually then happens then if a training is quoted towards the end of the year, it may not always happen during the winter months because, again, because of weather or holidays and whatnot. So as we can see here, from 3 reps sold some trainings at the end of last year, but they didn't get completed at the end of 2023. That's why they're hanging out here as kind of like caution orange or yellow. We've gotten them now done, so that'll be on the 2024 dashboard as far as completed. So, and then just one quick other little reference here too. So if I go back to the main pie chart here, because the trainings may not happen in person, even if they're over Zoom, we're still going to use the XY of your actual office. So that's where these dots are all coming up from. So we can actually see geographically, territorial-wise, where were Larry's trainings. Bulk of them were in Wisconsin compared to the Chicago office. So kind of cool little stats.
And this would be a good example too of kind of summarizing.
Sorry about
You know,
that.
we can just archive this and use that going forward with, hey, what did we do in 2023? And it could be, you know, similar to a project completion. You could archive it and use it, you know, for reference moving forward. So.
Questions? We got some resources too that if you want this PowerPoint.
And I will say too that there was actually I got a notification for an update for ArcGIS Online today, and they did make some alterations to dashboards. So they incorporated new functionality as well. So I'll definitely look into that. If something's been missing, while you're using dashboards, they did incorporate a list of new items within dashboards. So,
Thanks, Andy, for your help with this. Any questions? I know, stop by the booth. Thank you all for attending.